This is part 2 of the challenge that nobody asked for, yet some are mildly curious about. I highly suggest not watching this until after its predecessor. There's so much important context that I won't be going over again. As for those who are on this journey with me now, I hope you'll buckle up, because there isn't a someday, nor is there a maybe. Today, we'll be giving a definitive answer to the question, can we beat Xenoblade 2 with Godfrey only? After defeating Akos and Malos, how can we not begin Chapter 4 on anything but a high note? Sure, our party members may be gone now, leaving us to cope with the inevitable distress of solitude, but can you really imagine anything coming close to that 8-hour reign of terror? Certainly not the trio of goofy names. They go down first try like we're back to our glory days. Our momentum is skyrocketing as we enter Moradane, the most optimistic we've been yet. Now the run truly begins. But I sincerely think that is going to be one of, if not the hardest fight. I don't think the next few fights, at the very least, are going to be that hard.
Dawn!
Back to reality. Feel free to point and laugh at me. Chapter 4 is arguably the most difficult overall. Lila's damage output doesn't just put us to shame, it makes Godfrey feel emasculated. She has a plethora of hard-hitting attacks, but the bane of our existence is dynamic punch. You remember how demoralizing it was to be toppled and shackled? Well, this challenge is about to be plagued by another dastardly duo, interrupting our actions and preventing max affinity. Lila happens to do both of them with a single lightning-fast dynamic punch. Talk about a brutal introduction to our gruesome future. With our DPS now slowed to a crawl, it'll be tough to survive even at our level cap. I'll be honest, the doubts start creeping in. Were Akos and Malos an exception, or were they actually the rule? If we're already having this much trouble again, then is beating the game impossible after all? Working through those doubts reminded me of what makes challenges interesting to begin with. Limitations inspire creativity. Though we've only gained access to a few pieces of new equipment, there is a peculiar aux core we can snag thanks to Poppy and our gacha luck with Boreas. Fire defense up 3. Since Lila's attacks tend to be fire-based, this is our one-way ticket to survival. And while dynamic punch is nearly unreactable, she does use it at predictable intervals. Thus, at this point, victory is assured as long as we can stay disciplined for about 20 minutes. That includes when she's down, by the way. I noticed she loves to try to catch us with the wake up DPP. Believe it or not, this whole process lasted 2.5 hours, so not quite Akos and Malos, but it felt pretty damn good to beat Lila. And while we're at it, we may as well keep patting ourselves on the back. Morag and the Ardanian army are no problem for Godfrey. After how slow the last encounter was, it's rather satisfying to deal noticeable damage for once. We did replace Diving Swing with Mighty Beat, a relatively strong AoE that's useful for a fight like this, but in general, I sincerely don't think it matters. If anything, Mighty Beat is probably worse for its sluggish animation, but it's not like we would have gone this far without committing to bad ideas. What is a great replacement is Fruity Rice Ball, an objectively better version of Sparkle Sugar, but that extra bit of defense will barely end up mattering in our rematch with Zeke. This one-eyed monster is a one-hit wonder, and by that I mean it's a wonder why all it takes is one hit to ruin our day. I'm gonna resist elaborating since it'll be more relevant later, but for now, just know that you can always count on Zeke to be hard as balls.
We may not win this one. Grump said it best.
Just wanna see how much Thunder Doom does. Oh!
Why here?
Oh, not the time to start asking questions.
I'm sorry.
The remainder of Chapter 4 will take place in the factory, which means it's time to debut the indoor attack up 2 from our level grinding back in Uriah. Trust me, that additional 5% is about to mean the world, starting with our dreaded return of Lila. Though difficult once again, we surprisingly defeat her on our second attempt. It certainly helps that the strategy hasn't changed, and as Xenoblade fans know, why touch grass when it's easier in the comfort and the safety of indoors? We're also well aware that size isn't everything, and it's kind of sad how true it is here. Most of Rosa's attacks aren't that dangerous, and the few that are happen to be very choreographed. To be blunt, this fight is literally baby mode. It's like a Godfrey challenge tutorial, so of course, come hell or high water, I somehow find a way to lose. Towards the end, Rosa launches a powerful missile that detonates after 20 seconds. All we have to do is hit it a few times, but, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I underestimated our DPS and tried to tank it instead. Forgive me, Takahashi, I have sins. I'll never lose faith in Godfrey again. Is what I would say if it wasn't for Mikhail and Petroka. Unlike the previous Torna duo, their second phase is where the madness begins. And I do have to emphasize madness, because no other fight in this challenge will ever make me this upset. Boy did we prepare. We upgraded to an Affinity Max Attack 2 from the factory and an Indoor Attack 3 near Hard High Palace. We are doubling down on damage, because what makes this battle excruciating is how long it is. We need to take out 3/4 of Mikhail's HP and then Petroka's entire HP. Hell, Mikhail's alone is already a century. Not only does he have the usual tank shenanigans, he often puts down a healing AoE. Ironically, that ends up being our saving grace. We also benefit from its healing, and at times it's worth the stalemate. He may take forever to kill, but he really isn't a threat by himself. The problem is that he's with Petroka. The most forgettable member of Torna has become my most hated character in Xenoblade 2. And I know that sounds drastic, but you don't understand, and hopefully you never will. Her signature move is Dancing Lotus, a ring of fire that racks up damage the moment we step foot in it. It isn't a big deal in most playthroughs, but this is the Godfrey challenge. We need to stay put to Iron Wall and to auto attack for Iron Wall. The only thing worse than getting caught in the crossfire is getting toppled. So, guess what? She has not one, not two, but 3 ways to topple us! Yeah, if taking down Mikhail wasn't enough of a marathon, Petroka decides to milk her screen time by getting even more annoying! She is such a constant thorn in our side that we ended up bringing back Fire Defense Up 3 just for her. That is how toxic she is! But that's not the end of it. No, that's not even the worst part. Allow me to sum up the rest of this boss battle with 2 eloquent words. Micro bullshit. Because everything I just described, that's all big and obvious. Anyone can understand that. It's the little things that truly piss me off. The things that aren't flashy and at times are pure jank. I'm talking about the fire damaging us even though we're clearly not in the ring. I'm talking about losing our special 4 because our affinity disappeared for no reason at the worst times possible. And most importantly, I'm talking about the enemy's critical hits. Critical hits were single-handedly why Zeke was such an issue. But when you have a fight this long, they are virtually guaranteed to screw us over. Remember how much we hate Dancing Lotus? How about if it instantly does over 1000 HP? Though, let's not forget about Mikhail. He has the most egregious example. I am not kidding. Whenever the words "dead ball" appear on the screen, we may as well do a prayer cause we're about to roll the dice. Sometimes it barely does damage. Other times, we're dead. That's what I mean by micro bullshit. We have arbitrary circumstances bearing such alarming consequences that it feels like the battle is down to luck. Well, actually, Nara, no, shut up. If it's practically unpredictable and out of control, it may as well be luck. And if you think I'm being too salty right now, you don't even know the half of it.
Come on, just
1686? What the fuck is that? Whose idea? Takahashi?
Dancing Lotus. You're dancing.
Oh my god, I fucked it all up. I fucked it all up. I fucked it all up.
Fire flower wasp. Iron wool. Come on.
Fuck! Damn it! Ah!
It's fine, we'll get him yet.
Fire flower candy.
Why can't you use Iron Wall? I fucked it up. It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Thanks for that.
I'm gonna get toppled again, yep. It's fucked up. Fuck! I'm gonna get a chain attack gauge. I'm gonna chain attack that fucking witch out of her boots.
My thoughts exactly.
No, what sense does that make? Be honest, man. What sense does that make?
Eat it.
She gets to attack, but I can't shield because I'm too far away. I'm the one who's too far away to shield. What sense? I'm still stuck on it. What sense does that make? Going back to see what brings me back in the end. What makes me happy in the end is Bulge Harbor. Bulge Harbor always brings me back. Something about Bulge Harbor
Here. Let's
really
not
just
dally.
just puts things back in perspective for me.
Dancing
I won't let
Lotus.
you. Fall back to cover.
Why do I take that much damage? Did anybody see that horse shit? Oh great, dead ball.
Come on, just leave us that blade and nobody has to get.
Press it up.
Oh my god, don't. Oh my god! What the fuck? Seriously? Seriously? How can you look at that and say this is my fault? Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. Just cartoon hijinks. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse right now. MICKEY MOUSC FUCKYOU Petroka. Fuck!
Dancing
No!
Prepare for the full whack.
No!
Be reasonable. Nah, I can keep going. Why not? Godfrey on guard. Much obliged. Iron wool.
Fire flower wasp.
No!
Come on.
Rush down.
Oh my god, no. I'm not. I have to. I'm not losing that way.
We're up, Gramps. Dark.
We were right there, but I cannot. I can't lose that way.
Iron
Damn.
wool.
Really?
Rush down. Why not? Prepare for the full wow. Dark.
Why-
Yes!
Mikhail?
Yes! Finally! Fucking finally! God fucking damn it! Yes! Oh my god, what is it? 3 a.m.? Jesus! Oh my god, I can hear the birds chirping outside. That's the saddest part. It took us 4 hours. That's about twice as long as Lila and even their Torna brethren when we finalized our build. But don't get it twisted. the honor of the hardest boss fight still belongs to Akos and Malos. We had the benefits of a much closer goalpost as well as the indomitable power of friendship. Now when it comes to frustration, Mikhail and Petroka easily take the cake. Chapter 4 was humbling, to say the least, so I am delighted to announce that Chapter 5 should be much less stressful. We're able to make some vital improvements right off the bat, namely additional HP, an Iron Wall upgrade, and Outdoor Attack 3 from a Lindworm Stein. And on top of it all, Chapter 5 is one of the shortest in the game. This is the greatest chance for us to bounce back. The challenge may have been hell so far, but guess who's about to freeze it? Who am I kidding? I hate this dickhead with his stupid critical hits! Despite this being the third match with Zeke, and its strategy barely changing, we get absolutely slaughtered at our level cap. The fact is, it doesn't matter if we know his pattern. It doesn't matter if we play perfectly. All it takes for us to lose is a critical hit at the wrong time. And since Zeke in particular has a high crit rate and high attack power in general, there are numerous wrong times. To put it in perspective, his most common art, Dynamic Spark Sword, can deal up to 1700 damage. Think about that for a second. His most frequent attack, when the game feels like it, can essentially one-shot us. And if that's too hypothetical for you, his Sonic Thunder Slash is undoubtedly, unequivocally, to no avail, a one-hit KO. He does it 2 or 3 times per battle, so we have to be really conservative with our level 4 and chain attack. But that's the issue. We can't be conservative. They are in high demands and the supply just cannot keep up. I'm glad that I wasn't on camera for this. It pissed me off almost as much as the last boss. I can deal with lopsided battles. I can deal with battles we're expected to lose. But I hate losing when we don't deserve to lose. That is a terrible feeling to have over the course of multiple hours. Zeke may have taken half the time as Mikhail and Petroka, but since his HP is considerably smaller, the amount of attempts is closer than it seems. Thankfully, the core's power lines are a much needed break for my blood pressure. This boss can be stressful to new players for its immense spike damage when enraged, but once we slap on the conveniently placed spike defense too, it becomes dramatically easier. And then comes Jin, the sole member of Torna we have yet to encounter. The main attack to look out for is Heavenly Disrupt. If we don't block or dodge, it is likely going to kill us. Otherwise, it's a matter of patience. Skyward Slash will routinely lower our affinity, which in turn lowers our DPS. Fortunately, we just so happen to be one level below Jin, so Fierce Fervor is kicking in for the first time in a long time. And to further push our damage, we decide to experiment with Special Level 1 plus 2, since that's about the best our affinity can retain. In hindsight, we should have increased our accuracy instead. Jin has obnoxiously high agility. Still, it is enough to make it to the finale, another slow battle with the core. It has a similar moveset to when we fought its power lines, most notably Shackle Blading with Razor Thread. It uses it pretty often, and getting shackled even once can snowball into disaster. As long as we keep reserving our level 4 or chain attack, there should be no good reason for us to lose here. And with that, we have officially entered the second half of the game without Godfrey ever breaking a sweat. From our point of view, Chapter 5 may have been tough, and Chapter 4 never happens, but in the face of unshakable confidence, those were mere speed bumps. Isn't that right, Godfrey?
Woohoo!
Yeah, you tell him. With how much luck has been an influence lately, we increase our own on Rex's affinity charts and pick up an hour-long Merc mission for Affinity Max Attack 3. Was this necessary at all? Definitely not, but I'm the one holding the controller, Godfrey. That's what trauma does to a person. First up is Giga Rosa, who I think is possible at level 41, but I'm tired of hearing Banna's voice, so we end up 44. The scariest part by far is the Ultra Blammo spam at the end. We have to keep building level 4s in order to survive. Once we got that down, there isn't that much of a threat except for, of all things, getting stepped on. Cosplay isn't consent, people. Let me tell you, this has been a long-awaited victory, simply because we can now enter Tantal. Tantal grants access to a myriad of great items, including an improved HP accessory and a new staple pouch item, Snowy Dudleya Gelee. But above all else, we can finally upgrade Godfrey's affinity chart by completing Allies of Justice. We've been blue-balled on that chart since Chapter 2. Now, of course, it couldn't be that easy, could it? It's not just a total of 6 Merc missions, it's their prerequisites that are complicated. First off, we need to pull 2 Great Axe-wielding blades, which we unfortunately had to grind for. That is completely up to luck. Secondly, we need 2 other blades with a strength of 35 or more. I'll admit, I didn't even know what this number meant. I understand why Godfrey's is high, but why is Florin, a healer blade, considered stronger than Mythra? Doesn't make much sense, does it? It's likely another consequence of the hastened localization. Basically, each blade is assigned an arbitrary number, and that stat increases as their affinity chart progresses. For any other player, that's tedious at worst. But remember, affinity charts normally require battling, and we are not allowed to battle with any other blade than Godfrey. As implausible as that sounds, little did I know we had already stumbled upon a miracle. The guaranteed Wulfric and our previous gacha luck with Boreas. Most of Wulfric's field skills don't involve battle, and they alone are enough to boost his innately high strength to 35. Boreas, on the other hand, doesn't need to battle at all, he just wants to eat an unhealthy abundance of food. And regardless, Merc missions have a chance of clearing random objectives on a blade's affinity charts, so even if we were barely short on strength, we could eventually obtain it with enough patience. Lo and behold, Godfrey's affinity chart has fully been unlocked, and even though the challenge prevents a few slots, we are able to max out his imperative battle skills. For all intents and purposes, it wouldn't be unfair to deem this specimen Godfrey's final form. But I'm not gonna do him like that, as we immediately lose to the Tantalese Knights. I wasn't expecting this to be so perilous. It's mainly due to their evasion with Stormguard. Godfrey is not built for an onslaught of enemies, so the last thing we need is to miss. This is further increasing my dread for the upcoming boss. Yet another run-in with Torna, this time with 3 of them. It isn't that hard in a casual playthrough, but since we've once again demonstrated our weakness, we're gonna take a little bit of a detour. Godfrey's affinity chart requires his Blade Quest and Heart to Heart. In his quest, Flames of Justice, a mysterious driver opposes his noble ideals by using a girl named Hargal as evidence. Through our investigation, we learn that she was one of Banna's dancers who lost her job after his scandal. In order to support her sick mother, she resorted to illegal operations, falling out with her best friends and said mother in the process. Unbeknownst to her, her efforts end up aiding a terrorist attack on Theoswar, all of which was orchestrated by that scumbag driver. I'm not just saying this because it stars Godfrey, I genuinely enjoyed this quest. I'm not sure if that's exactly a hot take, some people don't like it for how shallow Godfrey's written. Here's how I look at it. In my 3-hour video essay, I bring up multiple instances of the game deliberately using anime tropes to either subvert expectations or to simply make fun of them. So to me, this is another example of the latter. I'm sorry, there's no way that Godfrey's angsty justice isn't ironic. You're telling me that Monolith Soft, renowned for their writing, doesn't realize how silly his dialogue is?
Gird your loins for a nice big taste of steaming justice!
I think it's hilarious. It's like a fish out of water situation. Godfrey is a cliché shonen superhero who is surrounded by reality. Granted, to echo his critics, his ideals don't waver in the slightest. He's never punished for being stubborn. But what'd you expect? He's Godfrey, we've been over this. And if you don't want to take my word for it, they literally spell it out in Servants of Justice, his heart-to-heart.
My heart and my fists forge ever onwards, burning with justice!
But your fists are made of ice, aren't they?
Wait, hold on a moment. All right, there's only one answer. Listen carefully, driver. My fists are not made of ice. They are blue flames! You see? You can make out the outline and everything. Mystery solved! Done!
Yeah, him being an idiot is the point. Or should I say, himbo? I swear, I could listen to him forever. No, really. Anything to avoid reliving the emotional damage of Torna. I already hated Mikhail and Petroka. Why not throw Akos into the mix? What could possibly go wrong? While their movesets are slightly different, Mikhail and Petroka play similar roles to before. It's Akos that has a new scheme. Instead of disrupting us with Topple and Shackle, Akos is just gonna sit back and focus on healing. Our DPS is high enough in the long run, but we're gonna have to survive for a minimum of 30 minutes. 30 minutes against the 3 demons of this challenge. On paper, to put it bluntly, that is far too much to ask.
Fight on this!
Woo! First try after 35 minutes! That shit took so long, I'm sweating, like, not even kidding. How was this possible? How did we first try 3 opponents we had previously spent hours on? Perhaps we do owe a bit of it to luck. That infuriating Ring of Fire was only summoned once. But the real reason is a secret I've been keeping away for this moment. Godfrey's Blade Quest was more than an obligation. It was an opportunity to experiment with the ace up our sleeve. A brand new Ox Core named Damage Heal 3. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to beat that scumbag driver. As its name implies, Damage Heal 3 adds a 25% chance of restoring 8% HP after taking a hit. On the surface, its inconsistency appears to outweigh its benefits, and while that may be true for most blades, it isn't for Godfrey. 25% isn't that bad when we're constantly blocking hits, and 8% isn't that small with how massive our HP is. Add that on top of Godfrey's healing passive and multiple healing buffs, and this is no longer a game of 30% HP. We can regularly get back to 100. It works so well, I'm embarrassed I didn't think of it sooner. It definitely would have saved me at least an hour or two. To be fair though, it's not just me. Nobody seems to talk about damage heal. It's typically overshadowed by critical healing or increasing block rate, neither of which would have helped in our case. The only damage heal praise I saw was this random Reddit post. Thank you for accidentally validating my idea. No hesitation, this has to be the new meta. In fact, it's Torna who's looking outdated right now. The main gimmick of this fight is the weather changers, which Petroka uses to reduce blade combos. Game design wise, it makes sense to lower their damage output to compensate for a distinct gimmick. But since that gimmick doesn't apply to us, all they're left with is their nerfed attacks. meaning Akos, Mikhail, and Petroka cannot defeat Godfrey. Jin still can, though. Just because our strategy's enhanced doesn't mean there aren't any holes in it. Luckily, this isn't a full battle, but we're gonna have to think of something soon, for I consider Chapter 7 to be the most difficult in the game. And in regards to the challenge, losing Pyra and Mythra results in an even more laughable damage output for us. The stakes could not be any higher. Can we beat Chapter 7 with, seriously, Godfrey only? And what cruel irony it is for our first obstacle to be a boss that can clone itself. The phantasms will multiply when their HP is less than 30%. The cruelest irony indeed. On the bright side, there can't be more than 5 phantasms at a time, so the trick is to lower their health equally before finishing them off with a chain attack. You know, if we had friends.
Tough break!
New enemy in the mix.
Tough break is right. No amount of brainstorming is gonna wipe them out at once, but for better or worse, Monolith Soft had mercy. The phantasms will eventually lose their ability to multiply. All it takes is to defeat 20 of them! That is a tall order, not because they have much health individually, or even because we're nerfed by the Spirit Crucible Elpis. The grind is frequently halted due to our classic arch nemesis, Topple. As desperate as we are to speed things up, we're forced to Iron Wall the majority of the fight. But although we can block their topples, we can never block our eardrums from the endless sounds of
New enemy in the mix. Fall back to cover. It's getting tough.
Oh my god! Somebody stop this. Can we consider this possible? Can we just call it a day?
Just say when.
Hold on, wait, there's only 3. They didn't molt us. Is it true? Can it be real? Is it the light at the end of the tunnel or the light at the end of my life? I can't tell. No, don't Everbro me.
I won't let you.
No!
Reasonable.
Everbro! Everbro! We almost got 2 full party gauges from this fight. That to me is a more impressive achievement,
Mighty beat.
considering every other fight. Oh no! Oh no! No! Godfrey, please! Oh my fuck. With extreme caution, we tiptoe our way to the finish line on our first try. And thank goodness we did. It would have been heartbreaking to lose, because that first try alone legitimately took an hour. Yeah! Thank God. Oh my goodness. That was so freaking long. Oh God. And we could have lost so many times, but we never lost. We never backed down. We kept on going. Always wondering if we made the right choices. And the answers are still no. We did not make the right choices. But we're still here! On the other side! I am both shocked yet not surprised that the Phantasms outdid Torna, but leave it to Malos to not be upstaged. Though we don't have enough bonus EXP to match his level, I figure we may as well try to learn as much as we can. I was fully expecting to get destroyed, but it's actually going smoothly. That is, until Monado Armor and then Enraged kick in. Suddenly, our damage is plummeting, while his own is skyrocketing. It became a 20-minute saga, nowhere near as lengthy as other fights, but in terms of sheer intensity, every encounter with Malos is unrivaled.
Monado Buster!
Oh, big miss!
Power Hammer!
Big miss! They want us to win so badly! Tetsuya Takahashi is looking down from above. He's alive, by the way, don't worry. He's looking down from above.
Nice resonance
He's
here.
staring down at his computer screen, looking at this stream, saying, yo, please win this. I love Godfrey.
Monado Armor!
Mighty beast.
His child loves Godfrey.
Monado
His wife
Eater!
loves Godfrey.
Go wrong.
Striker!
Oh! No! 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 Don't do it!
Nice resonance here.
Monado Eater!
Where did we go wrong? Huh?
It's okay.
Mighty beat. We
What?
lose.
Godfrey!
Sorry. I know I should have.
Striker!
Godfrey!
Tough. I can keep going.
Monado Eater!
Ah. Fall back.
No!
Getting tough.
No! No! Please tank this! Oh my god, damage hail! No! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! 420!
Try it!
Takahashi loves weed! Come on!
Monado
We can
Eater!
turn it around. We can't eat it. Fall back to cover.
We can't eat it.
I can keep going.
Monado eater.
Nah, I can keep going.
We can't eat it.
Ready and willing. Mighty beat. I won't let you.
Yes! Let's fucking go, dude! That was one of the craziest sequences right there.
We know when to give
It was so close. Oh, shit. We've had many victories that were satisfying because of the time we spent to earn them. This is an exception. No, simply as a battle, this is the most thrilling the challenge has ever been. There's no gimmicks, no caveats, no unfair advantages. This is a quintessential, good old-fashioned brawl. If you had to attempt a single boss in the Godfrey challenge, let it be this one. Even if we first tried it, we definitely deserve to lose at least twice. Thank you, Takahashi, for being on my side for once. However, this is no cause for celebration, for we have reached the Chapter 7 finale. The battle I have been fearing ever since we continued this challenge. Malos and Jin. We just got done scraping by the former. How about we slap on another boss we've already had trouble with? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? In many ways, this is very reminiscent of Akos and Malos, most of which are horrifying, but the one saving grace is our goalpost. All we need to clear is half of one of their HP bars. Obviously, that is much easier said than done, especially when they have a game plan. I have to applaud them for innovating. Don't let us play! Thanks to Malos' Shackle Blade and both of their Affinity downs, Godfrey barely gets to do anything. I'm not exaggerating, he's basically just there for moral support, which against these odds is about as useful as Pyra's corpse on the ground. We may as well change the question to, can we beat Jin and Malos with Rex only? But oh, silly me, I didn't mean to imply that Rex is allowed to play. Both of them have moves that can knock back or blow back, so half the time our actions are interrupted before they get to do anything. Though it's not as bad as the other half, where Jin is dodging everything. We can't focus on Malos because of taunt, so at this rate, most of our attacks just aren't going to land. And even when they do, they are going to be minuscule on Monado armor. So screw it. If we're that limited on opportunities, then we're gonna have to make sure that every hit counts. After all, the biggest difference between this fight and its predecessor is we're no longer in Chapter 3 anymore. Our options have been expanding with each and every step, to the point that I can unironically suggest a DPS build. That is right, even a dedicated tank like Godfrey can wreak havoc when channeling the benevolent power of DLC. For the low price of a bunch of field skills, Artisanal Accessories provides early access to the hero Vambraces, increasing our damage to higher level enemies by 60%. Coupled with Fierce Fervor and the hammer attachments, the meta has abruptly shifted again. But we're not done yet, so let's take it even further. We upgrade the wall to make up for our HP drop, triple down on damage with Rex's Affinity chart, and quadruple down by doing a whole side quest for Gentlemen a Study. This pouch item will boost our specials by 24%. And although Godfrey rarely gets a chance, there's no greater power than the power of friendship. We now have the DPS build of our dreams, and all we're asking for is half of Jin's HP.
Power hammer.
Yes!
Oh,
don't let the armor go off.
Hit it, no!
No!
Stop! Break!
They got the armor! No! That was not good timing. No!
I won't let you.
My dreams!
Try it! Ha! Eat it.
No! Oh, whoa! Why did that happen? No!
Immense. My thoughts exactly.
You're going down!
This might be it.
Bite on this!
Yes! Woo! I believed! DPS Godfrey, baby! Unbelievable. And that is Chapter 7. 3 bosses that demanded so much out of us, each in their own unique ways. And yet, funnily enough, we have never looked more pathetic than the mandatory Numa phase. This may be truly impossible to lose, but the party is making me doubt it. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is that the Godfrey hater's been kinda quiet ever since this challenge started. Chapter 8 is a bizarre change of pace. There may be only one real boss fight, but it begins with the single most important battle of the challenge. Whew, that was a close one. With Jin against our will, you'd think that we'd have a leg up on the competition, but that's a lot of legs over there. And it's not just their numbers. This mob of Goldos is wearing out their welcome by regenerating HP. A chain attack would have made this much less precarious, but it's temporarily disabled while Jin's around. Nah, I can forgive it. Who can blame Jin for wanting to tag along with the superior Ice Blade? Let him have his moments. Besides, he's understandably had enough of the Goldos anyway, swapping out with our usual party members against the Infernal Goldo. This is the one real boss fight I was referring to, but with how many abilities it has, it wouldn't be inaccurate to call it multiple. It can summon minions, it can regenerate its gigantic HP, it can nullify our healing, and it can exchange a bit of its HP for a practical one-hit KO with Elemental Bomb. And here's the kicker, none of those are the worst parts. This boss is deliberately a damage sponge as we're intended to beat it with a chain attack. But since our allies die immediately, and we can't extend it regardless, there's no way we can deal that much damage. Oh, here it comes.
Iron
and wool.
I got a chain. My only option.
Just say when.
Did not have the level 4
We're
ready.
up, Grumps.
So he does it like immediately after he becomes enraged.
Hit it, no!
What? Like I said, chain attack as intended. Seriously though, I'm not exactly sure why we won. My assumption is that we inadvertently chain attacked the moment the bomb sacrificed its HP, so therefore it was affected by the multiplier? But for how simple that logic is, I've never seen or heard about this happening to anyone else. So please, if anybody out there can prove me wrong, feel free to share in the comments. I'd love to know. The World Tree is daunting for Godfrey, as it is full of mighty robots who like to travel in packs. We are able to bravely escape from most of them, but a troublesome exception is this mandatory control panel. It's guarded by a Margot Sovereign, which would have been fine if it didn't snitch on us to the entire neighborhood. Damage heal 4 be damned. We cannot survive against all of its powerful friends, nor can we prevent the tattletale in question. We even try to cheekily despawn it by escaping, but there's too many roadblocks in our way. We give it several attempts in the span of 20 minutes until... Maybe I kill these guys in the front so that they don't... But this guy keeps coming in and out anyway. No, I trust in the plan. I really do. You can just mash A.
If they seek a fight, they
Oh
shall get
my
one.
god. Chat, sometimes we learn the hard way. Chapter 8 ends in a straightforward manner, but since Chapter 9 has double the amount of bosses, we're gonna have to take precautions. We can snag an indoor attack 4 from a Radcliffe Sovereign, and a damage heal 5 that for some reason is easily obtainable in Argentum. It's not an oversight, as we couldn't craft it until now, but it sure makes it funnier. Rex's chart will now improve our chain attack damage, while Godfrey's chart is as maximized as the rules will allow. We really are entering the home stretch of this challenge. Jin's final stance is kicking off with a bang, but this time he'll eventually stop using Heavenly Disrupt in favor of Bladeless Blade, which is tremendous news for us. Damage heal is most effective against rapid multi-hits, so ironically, he's replacing his best attack with a move that can revitalize our HP. And we're gonna need it. This is appropriately the hardest encounter with Jin by far. To jog your memory, our DPS becomes pitiful due to his high evasion and constant affinity downs. We may have been able to power through it in Chapter 5, but we are now stuck with the burden of Zero Zone. He'll nullify our healing so often that defeat is merely inevitable. We can't brute force this anymore. If a single miss can cost us everything, then we're gonna have to bust out our Night Vision 5. This will double our accuracy at nighttime to the point that we're landing almost every one of our attacks. But then, suddenly, right as he's nearing his last breath, our accuracy regresses. It takes all night just to get through half of Jin's HP, so night vision is bound to expire. The latter half is much more dangerous either way, so we'd rather be whiffing at the start. Thus, in order to take Jin down, we have to time the in-game clock to hit nighttime around the middle of the fight, all while praying we can do enough damage to beat that clock twice. While Amalthus canonically succumbs to ice, he has no intentions of sticking to the script. The lethality of his sacred arrow almost puts Mythra to shame, but it's his basic auto attacks that are debilitating with up to 2,000 damage. His multi-hits do provide a decent shot at damage heal, but his enraged form outweighs any form of healing. His DPS is giving me traumatic flashbacks to Zeke, and although we did prevail back then, Amalthus has an extra layer of bullshit that crumbles any sliver of hope. When victory is in sight, reincarnation activates. It is guaranteed to heal a large amount of HP, and I'm not talking regeneration like the Goldos. It is instantaneous. To my knowledge, he will always heal when he's about to lose, and there is no way to prevent it. In fact, trying to interrupt will just make things worse. There's no avoiding it. The only solution is to outdamage the healing. We have done it before with Torna in Chapter 6, but remember, that battle was a gimmick. Amalthus is merciless. Reincarnation has a cooldown of 90 seconds. You want to know how many it takes us to wipe out the HP it heals? 240. We aren't even close. Level grinding isn't an option. We would do less damage without our underleveled bonuses. We can't replace damage heal either, since we're barely surviving as it is, and there's no other broken accessories or pouch items available to exploit. Simply put, if we can't beat Amalthus right now, then that's it. There is nothing we can do. The indisputable fact is that we don't do enough damage. There's absolutely no changing that. As much as I hate to say it, we have reached Godfrey's limit. We came so far, all the way to the Architect's front door, fingertips from the finale, just to be met with an impossible damage check. Godfrey cannot defeat Praetor Amalthus. Wait.
Let's give him a full whammy. Hotter! No! Hotter than that!
Whoa! Oh! Oh! Did he fall? Let's go! We needed that! We needed that so bad! I cannot understate how much we needed that hole to be there. I don't know what we would have done otherwise. That hole did not exist when we fought Jin. That hole was created by Amalthus. You can call it hubris, serendipity, perhaps even fate. I'd like to think that Takahashi was at it yet again. You know him and his Bible references. And they took him and threw him into a pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. Chapter 9 may have been the most fulfilling yet. We had to think outside of the box, literally outside of our own party, for both of its bosses. We have finally earned our place in Chapter 10, the end of this challenge, and simultaneously the beginning. The gauntlet of party members is accurate to our party setup, which obviously sucks for them here, but Godfrey can effortlessly handle them regardless. Back when Pyra and Mythra were revealed to be in Smash, there was an influx of Twitch playthroughs of Xenoblade 2. Morag is particularly a struggle for first-time players, but I personally watched some of them overcome her by using Godfrey only. Even if they had previously joked about him alongside their chat, Godfrey came through. That's just the type of guy Godfrey is. No joke, this challenge wouldn't exist if I wasn't inspired by him saving those streamers from this gauntlet. 3 years later, that naive fantasy has taken us all the way to the final boss of Xenoblade 2. Ion is most notorious for Prometheus, a frustrating punishment for trying to beat the game. One-hit KOs are nothing new to us though. No, we'll be lucky if we even get to see Prometheus. Siren Buster can randomly kill us with seemingly no means of defense. Ion backs away when using it, and as I've previously complained about, we can't Iron Wall if the enemy is too far. Now, we are capable of blocking X-Star, but it might not matter anyway. We're doomed if there isn't a generous amount of damage healing. Healing that is often restricted, by the way. But worst of all, what has frightened me since the beginning of this challenge is War of the Servants. Ion will occasionally hit the pause button by passing the spotlight to its Colossi minions. While endurance rounds are also old news, this one may be too much to bear. Their auto attacks have a chance of toppling by itself, and their polling sensor can launch us with a minimum of 2,000 damage. Fighting these guys alone is painful enough. Add in Ion as their deafening cheerleader, and this is a recipe for disaster. Our build has come a very long way, but it looks like we'll need one last refinement. The meta isn't much of a mystery this time. We'd be foolish to ignore the outstanding rewards of a secret cure. This is an endgame side quest that demanded 100 times more effort than I expected and made me want to give up almost every step of the way, but it is possible. After 2 hours, we completed it. Affinity Max Attack 5 and the Spiral Core Chip are already worthwhile upgrades, but the main attraction here is Ultimate Shield. This is unanimously agreed to be one of the greatest aux cores, and if its effect isn't clear enough, let me do some easy math for you. 50% of our 50% block rate is 25%, which means a quarter of our enemies' attacks will have 0 effect on us. That is absurd. We've seen Godfrey at his lowest in multiple instances, so what better way to put a bow on this challenge than to see him at his best? We are level 69 on the 20th of April, embracing the community meta alongside the tactics we've developed on our own. Because the question is no longer can you beat Xenoblade 2 with Godfrey only. The question is, can we? And unfortunately for Ion, maybe we went a little too far. Polling sensor won't activate if we never attack the Colossi. I used to believe we needed to hit them because of how far away Ion is, but if we hug the corners of this ledge, we have just enough reach. This'll let us block Siren Buster as well, and a multi-hit like X-Star is just begging for Ultimate Shield. We have now mitigated their 3 deadliest moves. Without them, they don't have the DPS to even leave a dent. That secures our chain attack and level 4 in anticipation of Prometheus. But, it doesn't show up. Turns out, if we chain attack around the perpetually magical 30% of Ion's HP, it will never use Prometheus. Like, ever. I have no idea why that is, but there you go. You know, there were many fights that made me contemplate if it was possible for us to win, including this one. Never did I expect that I would now be asking myself if it was possible to lose. Yes, this is the final boss, folks. 3 giant mechs trying their hardest to utterly no avail. It genuinely makes me wonder, why did I force myself to sit through this challenge for such an anticlimactic ending? How many life choices led me to this moment where I'd be pressing the same few buttons for 40 minutes straight until the game decides to stop? But when it finally does, I know I'll remember that we do it for the love of that game. You see, during my few weeks away from this challenge, the Xenoblade 3 art book released with an interview with executive director Tetsuya Takahashi himself. His words and revelations reignited the whole fandom, and I was no different. Not for the earth-shattering lore, but because sometimes you feel something that's hard for you to articulate until you hear someone else feel the same way. And that was Takahashi-san for me. He bravely stated, quote unquote, Godfrey was a huge inspiration for this project. When I saw how every boss became a damage sponge, I thought to myself, what is this, Xenoblade 3? And that's how development began. So if an allegedly low-tier blade could set the foundation for an entire game's design, then what's to stop us from setting in motion our hopes and our dreams? It'd be weird if you were dreaming about it, but thousands of people have all gathered with the collective hope of seeing Xenoblade 2 beaten with Godfrey only. And who the hell is Ion, or even I, to tarnish that hope manifesting? Hopefully we get Godfrey soon. What? Whoa! Oh! Oh! Did he fall? Let's go! Let's go! You saw the homie Godfrey take his time. You saw Godfrey take his time, shedding tears himself as he finally beats Xenoblade 2. West Coast still 420. Ah! Give out your best for this moment. Yes! Thank God we can move on. Get me out of here. You're so right, Rex. You're so right. I think I skipped the whole ending. I think it skips the whole ending. Yeah! So, how about them Godfrey apology forums, eh? I think I deserve that at the very least. It's been a very long time. I don't know if you can tell by my tone of voice, but I am really tired. I'm actually currently recording this unscripted right now. I just wanted to give a little bit of an epilogue and honest reflection on everything. This took about 50 hours of in-game playtime, which is insane by itself because that's longer than pretty much every other playthrough I've had. I usually reach the credits at 40 hours and I just do whatever side quests and all that. That's not even counting all the deaths that made us reset the game. Remember, I had to reset the game a lot. When you add up all that, you add up the time I spent editing and all the research and all that, it's safe to say this project took at least 100 hours minimum. I don't think that's unfair to say. I made sure to make it so that this day, this fateful, meme-worthy day, was my deadline. So, there you go. But I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because this really was a fun challenge, just dissecting the combat myself, coming up with my own strategy. I just learned so much more about this game. I know a lot of people, they wanted to offer their help, and I'm sure there was other places I could have easily went to get that help as well. But I wanted to make sure that I made this as natural as possible. A lot of the moments in this challenge, they were memorable, they were funny, or they were epic because, well, it happened naturally. Those were genuine discoveries of mine. That being said though, I am incredibly grateful for everybody who reached out to me. I am especially grateful for everybody who just supported the challenge in general. Whether you commented on the videos, or you just watched it, or if you subscribed, because I gained a lot of new subscribers, relatively, right, from my standards, and I appreciate that, I really do. I want to shout y'all out. However, I do feel obligated to tell you that you should not really expect any more videos like this. You know, most of my videos are Xenoblade related or Nintendo related, but this specific type of challenge video, not really my thing, typically. If you look back at my previous videos, or just my video essays, you look back at the Xenoblade 2 3-hour essay, you look at the Xenoblade Trilogy Ranked, you look at the Ban Kaidos, another 1-hour video if you feel like it, it's great, check it out. You compare all that to this video, it's just all such different flavors. And that's kind of who I am. I just do whatever I feel like. This is not a job for me. This channel is just me being me. And if you're cool with that, then I really appreciate that. But if you're not, that's cool too, because this challenge would not exist without you. I would not be here, so tired, yet feeling so fulfilled, if it wasn't for you guys supporting this video. All the likes, all the views, all the comments. I mean, just look at the top comment right now. It says, "Now do Electra," which on second thought, fuck y'all.